Round of applause, please, for Judy Sheldon.
All right, thank you very much. And don't let him fool you. Ren was not just mentoring everyone, he was probably also partying and smoking the pot as well. So very excited to speak to you all today. I want to give a quick intro about who I am and SNP as well, and hopefully also give some takeaways, some tips and tricks for how you all can communicate more effectively, especially as you're going about and selling to people. So first of all, who I am, you can see here, I'm the head of training. Really what that means at SNP is that I'm working both with internal folks and external to make sure that their communications, their leaderships, their ability to communicate are at the highest level possible. And I love this because especially on the external side, I get to work with people at the IC level all the way up to executives and make sure that they feel supported and have the resources and skills they need. Now, SNP has been around for over 25 years. We're headquartered in San Francisco, not surprising based on James's description of Ren and Maureen. But we also have offices in New York and in Dublin and expanding into London. What SNP is, we are a leadership communications company. And what that means is we help people from the startup level up to the Fortune 100 in 3 different ways. We want to make sure that people are continually seeking understanding. We're working to make sure that they're creating content that's tailored for their audience. And we're also making sure that their delivery is memorable. It drives people to action. Now, why does that matter for any of you? Well, seeking understanding. When we work with sales teams, what we often find is that sales folks will go into any conversation and either they're forced to communicate a lot of information in a short period of time, or they're like me and they have the gift of gab and just like to talk, which means the conversations become very one-sided. Now, the problem here is we would say most successful sales folks are really good at creating long-term relationships. Would you all agree with that? I'm getting head nods, yeah. And in order to have a long-term relationship with someone, you have to understand them. And so seeking understanding means that you're figuring out what makes them tick. Why are they passionate about something? But making sure that you give that time in any conversation to learn these key elements about them. Now, creating content that's tailored to your audience. Not surprisingly, this ties into that seeking and understanding piece. But really for us, what we found is that sales folks are challenged with the task of communicating a lot of information at once. We often call it kind of trying to boil the ocean. And in reality, that attempt almost always fails. It's too much information. Oftentimes it's new or complicated information for the person you're speaking to, which means that they're not going to understand, they're not going to track, and they're not going to move towards that advanced deal that you're hoping to get. So it's really important to tailor your messaging based on what that person cares about. And I'll give you a surprise. What they care about is not you, and it's not the thing you're trying to sell them. So it's really interesting trying to marry that kind of 2 different aspects. What do they care about? What moves them? And what are you trying to accomplish in the conversation? But this is how we can tailor our content to the people we're speaking to. And the third thing that we do is we focus on that memorable delivery. Have you all ever been to a conference or had a conversation with someone and they really know their stuff? They're really intelligent, but you almost feel compelled to take a nap? It goes to show content is really important, but the way someone delivers it, the way they make sure that you're engaged and you're paying attention is also really crucial. And so we focus on ways to help with that delivery. It could be about pacing. It could be, how quickly you speak. It could also be about making sure that you have the energy that demonstrates the passion, the conviction you have about the thing you're trying to communicate. Or it could just be making sure that you don't let the nerves show, because most of the time, any of us can get nervous in different situations. So on that note, I want to give you a tip or a trick, however you want to view it, especially on that third point. How do we make sure that our delivery is memorable and drives people to action? So a couple of things here. First and foremost, anytime you're speaking, you want to make sure that you have appropriate volume. Now, basically speaking, we often use a 1 to 10 scale at SNP. 1 is your whisper zone. 10 is your shout. You're trying to stop a child from being hit by a car. Everyday talking voices, it's a 3 or a 4. Now that's appropriate if we're getting coffee at some coffee shop, but anytime you're trying to communicate a message, you should be louder than your 3 or 4. If it's 1-to-1, maybe you're just a 4 or 5. But especially if you have a group that has 8 people or all the way up to this size crowd, we want you to be at a 7 or an 8. There's a couple key reasons for that. First and foremost, you look and appear more confident and competent. And that perception piece is really important. So you want to make sure you convey that. Again, this is true if you're on the phone or if you're in person. You want to be perceived as competent and confident, and a louder volume helps it. Now, I do want to point out, a lot of people will say, well, sure, I can get loud. I'm told all the time I'm a loud person, but I don't want to yell at anybody. I don't want to scream at them. We do not want you to do that either. What we want you to do is find the way to project. And projecting means leveraging your diaphragm, pulling your air from that belly button zone and pushing it out. Because when we project, we have a nicer tone. It doesn't sound like we're yelling, even though we're at that louder volume. And most importantly, those nervous kind of feelings you may have when you communicate with someone, they're going to dissipate. And the reason is this: biologically speaking, when you get in front of someone else and it's really important to you, your body goes into fight or flight mode. You're probably all familiar with that term. Breaking that down, what it means is that your body starts producing adrenaline. And adrenaline is going to come racing through your body. Now, you'll interpret the adrenaline one of 2 ways. One, you'll think, yes, I can't wait to crush it. I'm so amazing. This is fantastic. Or, more likely, you'll think, oh my God, I hope I don't mess this up. Does that relate to most people in the room, one of the two? Now, the key is when you have one of those emotions, those experiences, you don't want to let it just sit in your body. If it just ping-pongs around your body, you'll demonstrate those nerves in different movements in the way that you present yourself. And so getting to that louder volume actually burns the adrenaline because it is exhausting to get to a louder volume. Now, you're not going to get rid of all of it. We want you to keep a little bit of it because that shows how you care about whatever you're speaking. But it will calm you down in order to focus on your content, make sure you're seeking understanding, and ensure that you're tailoring everything you communicate. So on that note, when it comes to SNP, hopefully you'll remember, we're all about seeking understanding, tailoring your content based on who you're speaking to, and making sure that message is memorable and drives people to act, pushes to that advancement. So very much thankful for your time. Again, similar to Ian, hope that was helpful for you all. Looking forward to answering any questions and communicating more after the talk. Thank you very much.